Loretta Swit died today in New York. She was one of the stars of the great CBS show. What the hell are you doing, Captain? I know this sounds like a silly question. The famous actress Loretta Swit died on May 30, 2025. She was loved by many in Hollywood and on TV. People remember Loretta Swit as Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan from MASH, who was brave and caring. Frank, I'm not going anywhere with you. We've reached the end of the line. I'm number one from now on. My name was Margaret Houlihan, and my life was just as complicated off-screen as it was on. Loretta fought her way through an industry controlled by men, even though she won an Emmy for her performance. She was born with a love for acting and animals. It's about to blow up in her character. I remember that she grabbed my hands and told me to leave it. Even though she became very famous, she had a hard time in her personal life because of a failed marriage and the pain of being typecast, which hurt her work after MASH. Come watch this video with us as we find out the sad facts of her death and what caused it. We will also talk about what Alda said about Loretta Swit's death. She was born in Passaic, New Jersey, on November 4, 1937. Her parents, Lester and Nellie Swit, were both from Poland. Her early years were not easy. Her father worked hard as a salesman, and she grew up in a working-class family. Her mother kept the family together with quiet strength. Little money and even less high hopes were all around Loretta as she grew up. She had a strong desire to act from a very young age. But those dreams seemed far away in a world where survival was more important than self-expression. She went to high school at Pope Pius XII in Passaic and then graduated from Catherine Gibbs School in Monmouth, New Jersey. She learned how to be a stenographer and secretary to make money, but she never really liked it. She got by with boring office jobs and taking acting classes in Manhattan at night with Jean Frankel. Loretta's path was a hard one. She was turned down many times and missed by casting managers. Being alone, not sure what to do, and having quiet tears behind determined eyes. Even though things were hard, she wouldn't give up on her love, even when it seemed like no one was listening. In the end, Loretta Swit left her normal life and went into the dangerous and unforgiving world of show business. This came after years of silent sacrifice and secret heartache. She worked as a secretary for years and spent all of her time squished behind a typewriter. Her real dreams were hidden under her bills and chores. She tried to leave the stage, but it always pulled her back. It was a risky move for her because she didn't have much money or comfort. Going from city to city by myself and acting in summer stock, dinner theater, and off-Broadway shows. It was cold at night, places to stay were cheap, and people kept turning them down. She wouldn't let go, though. She learned with the famous Jean Frankel in New York, where she worked hard to get better at what she did. Loretta Swit's long-awaited big break came with her first major TV part, which came after years of hard work and quiet persistence. It was in 1967 that she made her acting start in a guest role on the hit crime show Hawaii 5. It didn't matter how small or short the part was, it meant a lot to her. It wasn't just a job. It was a door that finally opened after being shut and ignored for years. Up until that point, she had spent a lot of time in acting lessons, worked in low-paying theater jobs, and dealt with the stress of not knowing what would happen next. She felt strong enough after that one show to keep going, even when fame didn't come right away. She kept getting guest parts on TV shows like Mission, Impossible, Gunsmoke, and Manx, slowly making a name for herself in a world that didn't always see her as strong and fiery. Each word she said on camera was filled with pain from her past and a strong need to prove herself. Loretta did more than just act. She fought hard for every second on screen. For Loretta, that first part in Hawaii 5 was the first crack in the walls that had been keeping her dreams from coming true for a long time. In 1972, Loretta Swit got the most famous part of her career when she was cast as Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan in the groundbreaking TV show MASH. The show took place during the Korean War and had both dark humor and strong dramatic stories. Swit's character stood out right from the start. In the beginning, Major Houlihan was shown to be a strict head nurse who often had an affair with the cocky Major Frank Burns. She was called Hot Lips because of how strict she was and how involved she was with a guy. In the first few seasons, she was often the funny foil. In spite of this, Loretta's character changed as the show did. Behind the scenes, Swit worked hard to give Houlihan depth and respect. She wouldn't let her be reduced to a one-dimensional stereotype. Major Houlihan slowly changed into a strong, caring, and complex woman who was respected through her powerful acts. She showed intelligence, vulnerability, and leadership during wartime chaos, making her a figure of strong women in a place where men were in charge. Swit won 2 Emmys and praise from critics for her performance, which showed how talented and emotional she is. Off-screen, Loretta was very dedicated to the part. During the show's 11 seasons, she never missed an episode, and she often worked with the writers to make sure her character showed how times were changing and how women's roles were becoming more understood. Her performance helped change what a TV female figure could be like. Many sides, flaws, and heroes. She was more than just hot lips to millions of fans, she was the emotional center of MASH, giving one of the most beloved TV shows of all time strength and heart. Loretta Swit's work on MASH was a turning point in her career and has had a long effect on how women are portrayed in media. A lot more than just being co-stars on MASH, Loretta Swit and Alda had a special friendship. Their chemistry on screen as Major Margaret Hot Lips, Houlihan, and Captain Benjamin Hawkeye Pierce was electric. They had fun bantering with each other and a slight tension that fans loved. A lot of stories spread about this relationship, including the idea that it might have gone beyond the screen. Their fans were sure that the spark between them wasn't just playing. It was always Loretta who brushed these rumors off, saying that they were just close friends and co-workers. Fans were still guessing for years because of how well they got along, which added a bit of gossip to their famous relationship. Loretta was very protective of her character behind the scenes. She worked hard to turn Hot Lips from a one-dimensional racist stereotype into a fully realized woman with real feelings and goals. Alda wrote a touching ode to X that said, "But more than playing her part, she made it." She worked hard to show the writers how to make the character more than just a sexist joke character. She wanted the character to be a real person with real feelings and goals. We had a party the day the script came out, which listed her character as Margaret instead of Hot Lips. Because she worked so hard, Loretta got both respect and a reputation for being hard to please. That didn't stop her, though. In the 1970s and 1980s, Loretta was tied to a few famous people in Hollywood, but she kept her personal life very private. She wanted her work and activism to speak for her. All the while, Loretta and Alan's relationship stayed a real, long-lasting friendship. Fans will always be curious about what happened between them, but the friendship was based on mutual respect, loyalty, and a shared past, not romance. Before she became famous, she did a lot of special roles that showed how dedicated she was to her work and how well she could fit into different types of shows and characters. She started out on TV in famous shows like Hawaii 50, 1969, and Mission Impossible, 1970, where she often played strong, mysterious women in dangerous situations. Swit played tough characters in westerns and detective shows like Gunsmoke, Bonanza, and Manx. Even in small parts, her performances were memorable. She was able to play more romantic and light-hearted roles in The Love Boat and Fantasy Island. This showed that she was just as good at adding charm and fun to a scene as she was at making it intense and serious. During the 1970s and 1980s, Swit was in a number of made-for-TV movies, which were famous at the time. In 1979, she co-starred with Donna Reed in The Best Place to Be. In 1986, she played the wife of a determined treasure hunter in Dreams of Gold, the Mel Fisher story, which won her praise for its emotional depth. She played a funnier and more exaggerated part in the satirical comedy Whoops Apocalypse 1986, showing that she was ready to take risks and try comedy in different ways than sitcoms. In the 1985 TV movie The Execution, which was dark and scary, she played one of several Holocaust survivors who are still looking for justice years after the war ended. This part was very different from the glamorous or funny ones she had played before, and it showed that she wanted to play serious, dramatic roles. In the 1992 thriller Killer Among Friends, she showed how versatile she was by playing a mother who is saddened by the death of her daughter in a tragic and mysterious way. The emotional weight of the part let her show her raw sadness, which earned her praise for how intense and sensitive she was. Her work on stage was just as amazing. Loretta Swit went back to the stage many times during her career. Her skills as a live performer were shown in shows like The Odd Couple and Shirley Valentine. She always loved being on stage, and she often talked about how live theater kept her grounded and pushed her as an actor. Loretta Swit's acting career goes far beyond her part on MASH, which is what she will always be known for. As a versatile artist, she made a name for herself in a wide range of genres, from police dramas and westerns to moving true crime stories and stage plays. She was an artist who wasn't afraid to leave her comfort zone and try new things, even if it meant taking on parts that were hard, emotional, or out of the spotlight. Many people loved Loretta Swit for her unforgettable role as Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan on MASH. On the surface, many people admired her life, but few really knew it. On screen, she was strong, charming, and sure of herself, but in real life, she was going through a lot of sadness and feeling alone. Loretta wanted more than the attention and praise. She wanted a love that would last, someone who could see past her fame and really get her. She thought she had finally found love when she married actor Dennis Holohan in 1983. They had worked together on the last season of MASH. She let herself believe in a happy finish for a short time. But their happiness didn't last long. After only a few years, their marriage fell apart, and in 1986, they got a divorce. That split hurt so much that it left a deep scar. People who knew Loretta well said she was heartbroken and rarely talked about it. She had put everything she had into the relationship, but now she was alone again and she wasn't sure if she could ever really love someone. Loretta had been in other relationships before and after that chapter. They were quiet and private, and they never quite worked out. People talked about broken hearts, promises that were kept, and mental walls that were never taken down. Even though her work did well, she kept her heart closed because she was hurting. People never saw her cry, but she did it a lot when she was alone and alone with herself. Friends told her how much they loved and cared for her, and how hurt she was when someone didn't love her back in the same way. She never married again. She decided to go through the rest of her life by herself, either because she wanted to or because she was afraid of being hurt again. Even though she loved her job and felt deeply connected to her work as an animal rights activist, a small part of her heart was always broken. When asked about love in interviews, she would smile and change the subject because it hurts too much to bring up old wounds, even after years have passed. Loretta Swit was more than just a great actor. It was a woman who gave everything. She did her all, even love. Love hurt her more than it healed, though. Someone who seemed mean had a soft heart that just wanted to be held, understood, and picked. Another sad thing about her story is that even though everyone loved her, she spent her whole life waiting for one person to love her the way she always loved others. The quiet death of Loretta Swit took place on May 30, 2025. She was 87 years old. The Hollywood Reporter cites a police report that says she died at her home in New York City just after midnight on Friday. The police think that she died of natural causes. People who loved Swit's iconic work on MASH and her lifelong commitment to acting and politics will miss her. She left behind a body of ability, strength, and performances that will live on forever and continue to inspire. Loretta Swit is remembered for many things besides her famous part as Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan on MASH. She captivated viewers with her skill and beauty on screen, and she cared deeply about animal welfare off-screen as well. Loretta became a strong supporter of animal rights over the course of her life, using her fame to spread information about mistreatment to animals and how important it is to adopt. She was known for taking in stray animals and giving many of them a second chance at life. She worked closely with groups like the Humane Society. Her dedication to this cause wasn't just a hobby, it was a deep-seated goal that moved many of her fans and co-workers to act. Loretta's legacy as a groundbreaking actress and an animal rights campaigner shows that she lived a life with purpose, kindness, and courage. Many people who care deeply about animals and the power of kindness are still inspired by what she did.